Welcome to 4Down Territory. I'm AJ Lawrence with my co-host Bobby DeMuro, and we're here to talk about 4 hot topics trending in sports. All right, Bobby, you ready? Let's go for first down. A little bit of something about Russell Wilson. We know he just won the Super Bowl. He's quarterback, young, he's got his stuff going, and now he's playing a little bit of baseball.
A really little bit.
Just a little bit. Just one day, yes, for the Texas Rangers. And he's super excited about it because he loves baseball. But of course, we know football is his #1 love. But he spent that one day there. It was nice. He talked to a few people. He sold out on his t-shirt and jerseys. So it was a pretty good setup. What do you think about that?
I am a huge fan of him playing baseball. Obviously, under contract with the Seahawks, he's not going to seriously play with the Rangers because if he got injured, all hell would break loose in the Pacific Northwest, and there'd be an incredible war between Washington and Texas. And considering Texas's military power, they would destroy Washington, and there would be no more Seattle.
Yeah, but Washington is Macklemore, and you know how he throws down.
I actually don't know how he throws down.
Nah, you missed the Grammys.
Okay, well, World War III aside, or Civil War II, I don't know what you would call it, it's a great idea from a public relations standpoint. Russell Wilson obviously is a former Colorado Rockies farmhand. The Rangers Rule 5 drafted him last year, so it's just a cool thing, and we get to say Wilson, Texas Rangers, so why not? And a point that you are about to make, so I'm going to take it from you real quick and you can expand on it. This is great for black kids.
Yes, absolutely. With Russell Wilson being more involved in baseball and the fact that we do have a deficiency in black players and we don't have kind of the presence that we used to have over 50 years ago. So it's good for, black young athletes or kids out there to see that, hey, as a black player, baseball is an option for me, and it's just as cool as being in the NBA or the NFL.
And there's a program, Major League Baseball does a program called RBI, Reviving Baseball in the Inner Cities. I participated in this program way back in the fruitful year of 2004 when I was like 16 or 17 years old. I am getting older. But it is for not just black players, but any inner city kids who are trying to play baseball or trying to learn about baseball. And as you might expect, a lot of black kids take advantage of this. This is another good example that those kids who have these programs in their cities look at Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, the Florida State quarterback, who is also a very good baseball player. They look at these two guys and they say, you know what? Maybe we should give baseball a second chance. If my idol in football is giving baseball a second chance, maybe it's worth it for us too. I think it's a win-win all around.
Absolutely. I think it was a very good venture. He had his day. I'm sure his insurance coverage was just, just biting their nails the whole time. God, please don't get hurt. But it was cool to watch. And we kind of like that, almost maybe you want to call it duplicity, where they can really execute on, the baseball diamond as well as the football field. And so you'd love to see that these players have this dual athletic ability.
And I will say 2 things. The first one's totally a joke, but if Wilson did get injured at batting practice, hey, Mark Sanchez is available. What do you think, Pete Carroll? Okay, maybe not. At least as a backup, maybe. And the second thing, and maybe more importantly, Wilson was a very good baseball player. This is not a joke. This isn't just a gimmick because he likes baseball. He was a high-round draft pick in baseball. He had a very good career at NC State on the baseball diamond before he transferred to Wisconsin, who doesn't have a team. And then he was a good farmhand with the Rockies before he gave it up for football. So this is a guy who down the road played football for another 10 years. Maybe then he picks up baseball for a couple years. Why not?
Yeah, it seems like it's a good opportunity for him. And the funny thing is, if he didn't win that Super Bowl, he would not be out there on that diamond. He would be focusing on the NFL. But, I guess, he's a Super Bowl winner. He can do just about whatever he pleases.
Pretty much, at least for this year.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to second down. So we all remember around February 8th when Marcus Smart was at Texas Tech and he got into that altercation with the fan. He shoved him, suspended for 3 games. It was a very unfortunate circumstance and situation. But, now we're seeing a situation where we have a lot of things going on in the NCAA, college basketball, where we have coaches acting out on top of it. We had, Jim Boeheim, Duke, he got kicked out. And then we had Mike Cronin also going against the referee, Teddy Valentine. There seems to be a lot of aggressiveness with these coaches in this whole college basketball scene and setting. So how do we expect these players to really, adhere to these standards of decency that we'd like to apply when we've coaches and the whole environment is it's kind of infused with this kind of aggression? I don't know. What do you think we should do?
I'll go Skip Bayless on this, and when Skip Bayless gets a real tough question, he'll sit there and go. But I honestly, I feel both ways about this. The first way is this is a case of bad timing. All these incidents happened very quickly, and New Mexico State and Utah State had an incident where at the end of a game, or Utah Valley, excuse me, had an incident where at the end of the game at Utah Valley, a New Mexico State player threw the ball at a Utah Valley player, and then the fans got involved in a fight. So that was a little unfortunate, but all these incidents happen at the same time, and it makes us step back and have this discussion and say, hey, wait a minute, what's wrong with college basketball? Then I think about Bobby Knight. This has been going on for a long time. So I don't know if it's an epidemic, I don't know if it's a bigger issue, or if it's just one of those things that happens and you just dole out punishment as it comes.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I know that I expect of fans, regardless of whether they're in the Little League or the college arena or professional sports, to act like professionals themselves. There should be no reason that you're calling names of players or degrading them. Just enjoy the game. It's like, you can't play, which is why you're a fan. So keep it on the minimum in terms of degrading and making these comments and trying to provoke them. It's unnecessary.
I will say this about fans too, and I agree with you that there is certainly a line to cross. The guy at Texas Tech who Marcus Smart got in the altercation with crossed that line. Whether it was racist or not what he said, he crossed the line in some way. There are ways that fans, I think, can get involved with players. When I was playing minor league baseball, I was playing a game on the road in Columbia, South Carolina. And I was a closer at that time, a relief pitcher, and I was warming up to go in, and the entire time I'm warming up, there are these three rednecks, and I use the term, I know it's pejorative, but they were just country guys. There's nothing wrong with being a redneck, but there were just three country guys just riding me and saying all this bad stuff, and nothing I hadn't heard, and it's all R-rated, and I'm not going to repeat it. But as I'm going in to pitch and jogging in from the bullpen, I hear one of the guys turn to his buddies and go, hey, that guy turned out to be pretty good, I guess, huh? And I started laughing as I'm running away because there is a line to cross, and those guys were saying inappropriate things that if you were worried, you'd say, hey, they crossed the line. But at the end of the day, that guy saying the last comment, he's pretty good, kind of lets you know that, hey, we're all in on the joke, and there are things you can say. But the bigger picture, and you're right about this, when that line gets crossed, there's got to be a stiff penalty for everyone involved, coach, player, fan, referee, whomever.
Yes, absolutely. Something has to be done because you cannot advance this kind of behavior, and especially because this is sports, and when you have it at the lower level, the college level, these are kids. Like Marcus Smart, what was he, 19?
Yeah.
That's a child as far as I'm concerned. It's not going to happen in terms of making these horrible remarks or comments to him and then expecting him not to get angry. This is a child. I can expect a response from a child, and expecting them to act like an adult it's not acceptable. But then seeing coaches act in that way, I understand this is their livelihood, they're incensed, they're passionate, and it's beautiful, but in the same respect, you gotta get a handle on it because it doesn't show much when one of your players has to hold you back.
The college volleyball coach at my alma mater always used to say that the definition of insanity is not doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The definition of insanity is actually coaching 18-year-old kids and having your livelihood depend on it. So these coaches are under a lot of pressure, and it's not wins and losses, it's dealing with teenagers.
Yeah, I will give you that. That's pretty rough. All right, let's move on to number 3, and that kind of, rolls into another category because the reality is, as a lawyer, I can tell you, Marcus Smart, when he's vetted by teams, they're going to consider that incident as much as, whether he was at fault or not. But there's the thought that, hey, if I bring him on as an employee, as a basketball player, then, hey, I could be liable if he happens to attack another fan or get into a fight with a fan, and then I'm subject to liability, and it could even hurt me at my ticket sales. And it brings up the importance of player vetting. But also we have to ask ourselves, how far can these teams go in their questioning? I know that it's a billion-dollar business in terms of sports, but should we allow kind of the questions at the combine where they get really in-depth in terms of players' personal lives and what they have available to them? It's kind of like, I know you can ask these questions and these kids are in these situations, but hey, should you really delve that deep in terms of maybe what they do on their own time? What do you think?
I think that this story, the fact that this is a story, the fault, and I don't know if it's a fault or a benefit, a thank you, but the crux of this story is sports reporters and sports writers and people like us. And what I mean by that is, 40 and 50 years ago, in baseball specifically, the stuff that Mantle and DiMaggio and all these baseball players got away with off the field was legend. And sports writers knew it, but there was a gentleman's agreement not to report it. Now, it's good that they had a gentleman's agreement not to report it in some ways because it kind of protects the players, but it's also bad because it lets the players do whatever the hell they want to women or whatever it is, and that's not cool. So sports writing and sports reporting now has gotten so transparent. We want to see into the locker room. We want to know what these guys do. We have Twitter to follow them 24 hours a day. It's a good thing to be able to follow these guys, but it's also kind of a step for concern that maybe we know a little too much about these guys, and when these incidents come out, there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to sweep under the rug. It's good that we don't sweep it under the rug. It's also bad that we have to confront it right then and there.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. I think that the nature of privacy, it truly is, oh my gosh, it's something that we all want and would love to have, but unfortunately, players and celebrities, they definitely do not have it.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, are people going to want to come see these players play? And also, I already know it's almost a sunken loss, the fact that I've paid them X millions of dollars, but am I going to be able to bring people in to actually see them perform? Or will they be, put off by their, I guess, off the field or off the court ongoings?
And the last point maybe that I want to make on this, because I agree with you completely. I think we're in total agreement on this topic. The one thing I wonder is, Plaxico Burress had that gun issue in New York City. He was a Giant at the time, and he paid a dear price for that issue and went to jail and shot himself in the damn leg or whatever it was.
Yep.
So Ray Felton, a couple years later in the same city, doesn't learn the lesson. It's not just us, it's not just this issue of vetting players, it's not just a management issue, but when are these players going to learn this lesson?
No, I completely agree. And the thing is, also, as a businesswoman, I would definitely say that if I'm going to make my investment in this individual, I'm going to make sure that they know the things they can and cannot do and what is completely unacceptable and what is not going to work. And, I know this test with, at least, Adam Silver being new commissioner in the NBA, a lot of these things are going to come down the pipe, but it's kind of one of those, you really do have to nip it in the bud, that you might be players, but at the same time, you're professionals and you're costing me a whole lot of money, so you better get right.
Spoken like a true GM.
All right, now last up, we are talking about uniforms. We got to see those Granimal type pajamas that the NBA threw out this Christmas, but now we have all sorts of changes. We have the Men's World Cup uniform, which is a white collared, very basic polo shirt. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their kind of, I guess, digital clock rendition. And then who else? The Cleveland Browns are talking about doing more of a heritage history throwback, which...
How would you get more historical than what the Browns already do? They don't have anything on the helmets. It's like, what?
It is. It's what, orange and brown.
That's like what.
Nice
That's like Penn State saying, you know what? I think we need to simplify our uniforms. It's not possible.
Yeah, well, they think they're going to do something. That's for sure. I don't know. What can we do about these uniform situations? Because I don't really like these changes because they don't do anything, but also they're not cute.
Well, I don't know about the cuteness. That's like the last priority I have. I am old school on the uniforms. As you might imagine, I'm an old grumpy man. I hate them all. I like the throwback jerseys. I think it's cool when two teams will do a throwback day from like 50 years ago. That's a cool game to watch, like old baseball uniforms or something.
Yes,
that's
fun.
Awesome. Or if the Astros ever did like an old 80s Astros uniform, that'd be amazing. But all these new uniforms, first off, can we just say this right here and have it be fact, and you cannot argue with this at home. Sleeve jerseys in the NBA? No.
No, they're not cute. They do look like they're wearing PJs, and
Bad
it's just,
dog. Bad dog.
I'm not a fan.
So that's it. No more sleeve jerseys in the NBA. No. But besides that, all these uniforms, it's just, they're obviously trying to sell jerseys, and it's working because they wouldn't keep changing if we didn't keep buying them.
Very true.
But there's not enough differences. There's not enough reasons. I hate it all. I'm grumpy about it. It's stupid.
Yeah, I can agree with you, and especially, with the NBA and those sleeve jerseys, I would like to go back to something that was classic, those really short little shorts.
No, actually, no short shorts.
No, I want to see LBJ up in them little tight shorts. No, let me see that. I'm quite certain their performance, it'll be like 150%.
Yeah, well, moving on. The one branding change I do like, and there are instances where it's good, and I know you don't agree with me on this, but the Charlotte Bobcats going back to the Hornets, it's more of a cultural branding change for the city, and there are other examples besides this one, but this one specifically is good just because it gives the city of Charlotte that identity again. Now, is it a merchandising change to sell a bunch of jerseys? Absolutely. Will they sell a bunch of jerseys? Absolutely. So it is a superficial financial perspective of it, but there are ways you can change uniforms and have a positive outcome. What the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did is not one. they barely changed their uniform, but they're going to sell a ton of jerseys. It's stupid.
See, you say a ton, I say 5.
Yeah,
But
I mean, well, like, name 4 Buccaneers.
I don't know. And the thing is, I had never seen the Buccaneers jerseys before they changed. So.
Okay, I can name 2. Well, Johnny Depp, Blackbeard. Okay, Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan is good.
It was Captain Cook, the explorer. Did he become a pirate later?
I don't know. Pirates scare me.
Okay, well, we got 3. So if I see Captain Morgan and Johnny Depp in a Bucs jersey, maybe I'll buy one. And if I see Blackbeard in a Bucs jersey, considering he died 400 years ago, I will definitely buy one. But other than that...
Well, if you see Blackbeard in a jersey, you might have been talking to Captain Morgan a little too long. All right. Well, I am AJ Lawrence. This is Bobby DeMuro. This is 4 Down Territory. Please let us know what you think. We'd love to catch you on Twitter or on Facebook. And as always, enjoy those sports.